Morning traders, and welcome to this week's Forex Focus. I hope you've all had a wonderful week in the markets. We certainly had a great one, and you're looking forward and ready and raring to go for the week ahead. In this week's episode, we've got a number of opportunities to take a look at. So a bit of a change to the week or a couple of weeks ago where we only had a few to look at. This week we've got loads and loads that are setting up, and it's really exciting because they're some of my favorite setups. They're the ones where it's sort of like a continuation of the predominant trend. So we've got momentum in the direction of the real trend, and they're the ones that I really like to get involved in and really help to push my account up to the next level and to the next level. So a great week of trading ahead of us. So without further ado, let's jump over to the charts and take a look at those opportunities. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the Aussie Frank. And what I was just saying to you just now about my favorite opportunities where, where you've got the predominant trend, where you've got the longer term trend sort of starting to take effect again. This is exactly what we're talking about. So you've got this long-term trend on the weekly chart is down. The daily chart is down, but it has been pulling back somewhat. And then obviously the 4 hour and the 1 hour charts are moving sideways. But what you have here is you've got a massive big body candle here. So you've got, let's zoom in there for a second. You've got basically the fact that this market here is ready to continue this trend to the downside. Now, you may not get, a massive swinging move all the way down to the lows here, and that's fine because all we're looking for is, a smaller reaction, so to speak. We're not necessarily going to put our stops all the way up here. We've missed the opportunities to get, or there wasn't really any opportunity there in the first place to get in there on the daily charts. We're going to be taking our trades from a shorter time frame. So we don't need the market to come all the way down here. Even if it just attacks these lows, that will be enough to make us money. So what we're looking at, okay, with that in mind, is we've seen that the dominant trend is taking force again, all right? What we're looking at here is we've got the 4 hour charts. It's broken through structure there. So you have sort of like a 1, 2, 3 reversal and a break to the downside right there, which is great. And then on the 1 hour chart, you can also see that dynamic as well. Now, what we're looking for, and it will probably present itself on the 1 hour chart, is we're looking for the market to pull back a little bit. Okay, so give us like a nice counter trend line break or a 1, 2, 3 reverse on the hour chart or something like that. But we're looking for the 1 hour chart to pull back a little bit. And when it pulls back, we will then sell into that move. And what you need to do is you need to look at the context of all of the charts. So looking at the daily chart here, you can see that this is clearly an indication that the market wants to take this lower. Taking a look at that particular chart there. You look at the weekly chart, the market has been going down, 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 down. It's just been in a big downtrend. So this looks like this could take effect again. And what we're looking for is a smaller reaction. So if we go over to the 60-minute chart, which is where it will probably present itself, we'll look for some sort of a pullback on that, take the sell, and we should be good to at least attack these lows here. And if we can get beyond those lows, then who knows, we could even get towards these lows down here. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on the Aussie Frank. The Aussie Yen is presenting a similar sort of picture. Here you can see on the daily chart, the downtrend is a little bit more pronounced. But again, it's exactly the same setup. So we've got the daily chart is indicating to us that it wants to go shorter. All right, it wants to go down. It's at this low here, which is fine. All right, because we've already seen in the past that the market can break through that low. So that's not so much of a concern. We're going to be looking at the 60-minute chart to pull back again. So if we get a pullback on the 4 hour chart, it will just look ugly. So that's not what we're looking for there. We're looking for price action on the 1 hour chart here to pull back to around these areas here and then give us another opportunity to go short. And again, we will be all over that. The the Aussie dollar, again, it's exactly the same sort of setup. Now, one of the things that you're probably going to sit there and say is, well, do I get involved in all of these Aussie trades because they could be correlated? And you know what? You're absolutely right. They could be. So what you can do here, and we've spoken about this a little bit in the past, is you can either opt to take one of them. Okay, so the first one that sets up, take that and leave the rest. Or you could say, well, if I was willing to take, let's say 1% of my account with across one trade, well, what I'll do here is I'll split that 1% into thirds. Okay, so you'll take a third of a percent in each of the trades, and then you'll be getting involved in all three trades together. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to sort of mitigate your risk somewhat, so that, let's say, for example, something comes out of the US and you're only in the Aussie dollar trade, then that's going to get affected. But if you're in all three of the trades, then the likelihood is that not all three of those trades will be affected. So instead of a win or loss situation, you get yourself into a situation or a scenario where actually you can make money if a number of different things occur. So if the Aussie dollar stops you out, the Aussie Yen could make you money. If the Aussie Yen stops you out, the Aussie Frank could make you money. Do you see what I mean? So you're kind of giving yourself a few options there, and it's quite an intelligent way to trade. Now going to the next one, we've got the Cad Frank. And I'm just going to sound like a broken record here. It's going to sound like Groundhog Day. Again, the market has broken through structure over here. As you can see on the hourly chart, the market, and let's just put in a horizontal line there. The market has broken through this structure, all right? If we look at that from the daily perspective, we can see that that was a previous level, although albeit a minor level, previous level of support, then becomes resistance. The market then tries to get up above it. It spends 4 days above it and breaks down below, but it doesn't just meander down below, which is the important thing. It breaks down below with momentum, and that's what we want to see as traders. Because if we don't have momentums in our chart, then we can't make money. We can only make money when the markets are moving, and that's exactly what's taking place in these pairs right here. So if that can continue into next week, okay, we can continue to get this sort of harmonic price action, it could be a great week ahead for us. Looking at the Cad Yen, it's, again, carbon copy. I sound like I'm repeating myself, but you've got the long-term downtrend. Look at this here. On the weekly charts, you can see that the market tried to go up. We had some topping action, and then the market broke through this structure level here at 90.82. All right, it broke through there back in August of last year. It then went very, very short. It went very quickly. So there's no opportunity to get in there on the weekly chart. But now the daily chart, okay, is showing us that it's had a nice pullback, as you've got here. If you didn't get in on the counter trend line break, then we've got an opportunity to get involved here when the market pulls back. This may well drop a little bit more before it starts to pull back, but when it starts to pull back, I'm going to be, I'm looking for a short on this pair. Absolutely. That's the only trade that I'm looking at right now on this particular pair. Now on all of those pairs that I've shown you. And as I said to you, what you want to do, because there are so many opportunities setting up this week, what you need to do is you need to make a decision on whether you're just going to take one or two with full trade sizes, or you're going to say, well, there's potentially 8, 9, 10 trades out there that I could take this week. So I'm not going to be stupid and risk 8, 9, 10% of my account, but I'm going to cut up my position sizes. So maybe I'm taking, 0.25% or 1/3% on each of the positions, but I'm going to try and take all of them. And then if you take all of them, you can end up in a position where you're taking 8 different trades, but you've only got the risk of, let's say, 2 or 3 trades. And then, as I just said to you, the great thing with that is that you're in a position where you don't need, you're not relying on just one trade to make you money or not make you money. You've got a bunch of trades out there. Not all of them are correlated, okay? Some of them are, absolutely, but they're not all correlated. But you're in a position where now, it's not black and white. Your psychology is going to be so much better. You're not going to suffer as emotionally as you would if you're just in one trade, because you're going to be looking at your overall portfolio. And that's the way professionals do it. If you look at your overall portfolio of trades, and the outcome of one trade doesn't make a difference, okay, because your overall portfolio will be positive. And that's exactly what we're doing here, okay? So just a quick recap on the Cad Yen. The Cad Yen daily chart is overwhelmingly down. We've got the continuation of the downtrend happening here, and we're going to look for our entry on something like the 1 hour chart. The Euro Aussie is a similar situation, but to the upside. So instead of a downtrend, what we have here is the market is going to begin its uptrend. So we've had a little attempt here. The market back in December came up from these lows here, made a little bit of a high, then broke that high in January. It's then been pulling back. It's not the tidiest chart in the world, admittedly, but what we can see here is we can see momentum, and we want to be trading momentum. So if we get an opportunity to go long next week, we've got to remember that we've got all of this market behind us. All right, and there's quite some conviction there. But the one thing that you want to take a look at here is, yes, the market might come off a little bit on the open tonight. even, because this candle here is basically like someone's got strangled, because this candle, there was no one got out at the top there. Okay, this market just closed right at the top, which can be a very, very bullish sign, but sometimes we like to see it pull back just a little bit before it does that, because otherwise it shows that there may be people trapped up here that wanted to get out but couldn't get out, so they're trying to unload but they didn't find a price for it. So that kind of that's more if you're within a stock or something like that. It's not as much if you're in the currency markets, because it is so big, it is so liquid. But if you're in like an equity or something, you see a big candle like that, sometimes that can actually be a bad sign. But for the moment anyway, as I said, what we're looking for is for the market to roar on up a little bit, give us a little bit of a pullback, and then we'll be looking to get involved in that trade. The pound franc is the same as all the others. So again, we've got the continuation of a downtrend here. And apologies if I do sound like a broken record here, and if I'm showing you so many setups that look exactly the same. It just so happens that that's the way the markets have presented themselves this week. And I'm not going to complain, because we need momentum as traders to be able to make money. And this is what we're seeing all over our charts this week. So there really is no excuse not to come out with a profit at the end of this week. So the pound franc, again, as you can see, is continuing its downtrend. It reacted to this previous level of support here on the chart. So let's just put that in. We've got a previous level of support, then becomes resistance on the daily chart. The market respects that and is now pushing to the downside. So we can at least expect some sort of a push towards the lows there. Finally, we've got the New Zealand franc, which is this one right here. Now, this one on the daily chart doesn't look as pretty. Obviously, it looks like we're in a bit of a consolidation here. But what you have to take a look at is look at the weekly charts, look at the context, and we are making lower highs, as you can see there, and lower lows, as you can see here. So we are looking for more momentum to the downside, and that's exactly what we got here. So waiting for the market to break down from these levels here, okay, which it has done. Then we're waiting for a little bit of a pullback. Once we get that pullback, then we're going to be looking to take a short on this pair here. So it's exactly the same as all of the other setups. So that wraps it up for this week's Forex Focus. As you can see, we've got a number of opportunities on our hands for this week. And it's not something that we should shy away from. It's something that, you need to embrace, because as traders, we need volatility to make money. You have to have volatility. And I know that some people will be thinking, oh, well, there are way too many opportunities out there. How am I going to keep a handle on all of them? Am I going to take all of them? All of that kind of good stuff. But as I said to you, the way that professionals trade, okay, is you want to get to a point where you can maintain many different positions, because then you're not dependent on the outcome of just one position to make you money. And that will do a hell of a lot for your emotions as well, because then you won't be looking at that one position, and when it ticks up and ticks down, you'll be feeling, either really excited that you'll make money or really fearful that you're going to lose money. When you've got a portfolio of positions on, okay, so you're maintaining many positions at the same time, then you put yourself in a position where actually the outcome of one trade doesn't matter at all, because you're looking at your overall portfolio, and your overall portfolio should be up, and it should be making you money, assuming obviously you've got the right ideas and the right approach to the markets. Now, please remember, this is for educational purposes only. So none of this is advice for you to go out there and take a trade. We're not authorized or regulated to give that sort of advice. All we're doing is we're giving you our analysis. We're talking to you about what we're going to do on our accounts for the week ahead. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, or thumbs up even. Post a comment beneath the video, share it with any of your friends, anybody that you feel may benefit from these weekly outlooks, and just looking at what we're doing with our own accounts. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great week in the currency markets, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. So take care now and have a great weekend.